4 dangerous mistakes in the morning that people over 70 often make, and advice for us to effectively prevent them. Morning is the time when the body starts a new day, but for the elderly, some familiar habits can potentially pose health risks. As we age, the body becomes more sensitive, and the ability to adapt to change also decreases. Even seemingly harmless actions can be dangerous to health. For example, recently there was a case where a 72-year-old woman suddenly passed away because of a morning habit mistake that she did not know about. What is the worrying thing is that this habit is very common in many elderly people. So what is that habit? In today's video, Tuan and the uncles and aunts will explore 4 common morning habits, especially among the elderly, and will guide us on simple but effective ways to prevent them, to protect our health every day. The first mistake that many people make suffer is getting out of bed too quickly as soon as we open our eyes. Have you ever thought that this is completely normal? But in fact, for people over 70 years old, this habit can cause many serious problems such as dizziness, loss of balance, and even falling. A study from the Central Brain Hospital in Vietnam found that about 30 people over 60 years old experience dizziness due to sudden changes in posture every 30 minutes, and this number increases with age. This phenomenon is not rare, especially in the morning when the body has not yet adjusted, and you can recognize the bad signs, such as feeling dizzy, blurred vision for a few seconds when we stand up, and just for a moment. Definitely, it is enough for us to fall, and this state of falling is the leading cause of fractures in the elderly. Tuan also wants to tell everyone that there is a case of Mr. Nam, 74 years old, who used to have that habit. When he woke up, he would swing your legs out of bed and stand up immediately. And one morning you lost your body by luck that you fell on the bed and not on the floor. And from then on, you changed the way you start a new day. So what is the solution for us? And it's very simple that we just need to follow these 3 steps. The first step is when you open your eyes, take a few deep breaths and move your fingers and toes gently to stimulate circulation. The second step is that we slowly turn to one side and sit up slowly and keep your feet touching the floor. And the third step before standing there, take a few seconds for our body to stabilize. Move your eyes, legs and arms a little, and just a few seconds of slowing down will significantly reduce the risk of falling. This not only helps protect the body, but is also a way for us to start a new day more safely. And the second mistake that must be mentioned is that many uncles and aunts skip drinking water after we wake up, and many of them think that this is not too important. But in fact, after 7 to 8 hours of sleep, the body will fall into a state of mild dehydration. And when we sleep, we also need to breathe, sweat, and lose water through the skin and breath. As a result, the blood becomes thicker, circulation slows down. If we do not replenish water in time, blood pressure can increase, the kidneys will have difficulty working, and the risk of heart attack is even higher. According to data from the National Institute of Nutrition of Vietnam, about 60% of the elderly do not drink enough water every day, and this is especially serious in the morning. Surely many of you will feel that it is
We will wake up in the morning and have that feeling of dry mouth, this slightly stiff jaw, this Orlo energy. And that is the sign that our body needs to replenish water, and more dangerous if the first drink of the day is tea, this coffee. This instead of drinking water, then the dehydration becomes more serious. And recently there is also a 70-year-old lady as a typical example, and she confided to Tuan that she has a habit of making coffee right after waking up and drinking coffee instead of drinking water. Then after a while she often gets dizzy, this and Tuan also advised her that we should drink water instead of just drinking coffee. And she did so, and after only a few weeks she felt more alert, this less dizzy. This because, as Tuan said above, drinking water in the morning will help stimulate metabolism, this supports circulation, and reduces pressure on the heart, and the way to do it is it's simple. You guys just need to pay attention that after you wake up, you should drink a cup of warm water, and you can add a little honey and lemon. It's great. And one very important thing is that you guys need to pay attention that we should replenish water before we're thirsty. Don't wait until we're thirsty to drink water, because at that time, our body is already dehydrated. And one thing you guys need to remember is to start a new day with a cup of warm water. Then your body will thank you very much for this wonderful thing. And the third mistake that Tuan wants to share with you guys, especially those over 70 years old, is that we drink coffee when we're hungry. Many people have a habit of that. A new day hasn't started without a cup of coffee, but the problem lies there. If we drink coffee on an empty stomach, it can be harmful to the body, especially those over 70 years old. Because when we wake up, the stomach kamashini. The stomach is empty, the blood sugar is low, and the stress hormone cortisol is high. If we drink coffee at this time, it will cause the thyroxine to spike and put pressure on the body, causing stomach discomfort, and it can even lead to acid reflux. According to a report from the Vietnam Digestive Association, about 25% of older people have acid reflux problems, and the habit of drinking coffee on an empty stomach is one of the common causes of this condition. So let me ask Tuan, has anyone ever had that feeling of nausea or a burning sensation in the stomach after drinking coffee in the morning? If so, please comment below. And if you and your friends experience such a sign, it is a sign that our stomach is reacting to the attack of acid and caffeine. In addition to that, when we drink coffee when hungry, it can also disrupt blood sugar, causing this feeling of trembling or fatigue after a few hours, because when the energy suddenly increases, it drops quickly, and this is especially dangerous for people with a history of diabetes or high blood pressure. So the question is, how can we enjoy coffee without harming the body? Before drinking coffee, eat something called a stomach liner. No need to pray for K, just a few slices of bread or a ripe banana or a few cookies are enough to reduce the amount of acid in the stomach and stabilize blood sugar and make the process of absorbing caffeine happen more slowly. If we have time, we should have a light breakfast with these porridges. And this milk is also one of the extremely great choices, and just a small change is enough. Not only does it protect the stomach, but it also helps the uncles and aunts, maintaining stable energy throughout the morning to avoid unnecessary discomfort. And finally, the fourth mistake that few people pay attention to but is extremely dangerous is to ignore the body warm-up before moving quickly. Many uncles and aunts wake up and feel their joints are a bit stiff or their muscles are weak, but they think it is a normal thing in old age and will often try to stand up and walk right away without preparation. However, when we sleep, our bodies are in this resting state, the muscles and joints are almost inactive for many hours, while blood circulation is reduced to a minimum to maintain basic function. As a result, in the early morning, the muscles are often stiff, the joints are lacking, and the blood has not had time to circulate evenly throughout the body. If we move suddenly in this state, the risk of joint strain, muscle pain, or falling will increase significantly, which you all know. Falling is not only painful, but can also lead to serious consequences, such as hip fractures, one of the most common and difficult to overcome injuries in the elderly. In addition, exercising immediately without warming up also increases the pressure on the heart, especially if you have blood pressure problems or cardiovascular diseases. Signs such as sharp pain in the knee joint, a feeling of scraping in the shoulder, or unsteady walking for the first few minutes after waking up are all warning signs that our body sends us in this habit. It seems harmless, but if you do it over and over again every day, it can gradually damage the skeletal system and increase the risk of long-term injury. The way to avoid it is very simple and does not take much effort. Before getting out of bed, take 1 to 2 minutes to gently move this door, rotate this wrist, this ankle, lift the knee up and down a few times, and we can gently move the shoulder and combine with deep breathing to stimulate blood circulation. And after sitting up, hold it for a few seconds, then stand up. Slowly, you can use your hands to hold on to these bed frames or chairs. If you need to keep your balance, and in the first few steps, let's walk slowly and observe the surroundings. And if the room is dark, don't forget to turn on the lights to avoid falling. And if you have time, you can do a few more movements, such as simple stretching, like stretching or gently turning around on the bed. These steps are small, but they will help wake up our bodies safely and reduce the risk of injury, and bring a more flexible and comfortable feeling to start a great new day. Like this, with these 4 mistakes still As for the consequences for health, it can be analyzed that most of them are due to cardiovascular diseases, due to conditions of irregular blood circulation to the brain or lack of oxygen, and leading to the dangers when we encounter these mistakes. How to help us have a healthy cardiovascular system. How to help us have better blood circulation to the brain to avoid conditions such as cerebral circulatory disorders that cause dangerous complications. Among the mistakes that we can encounter, the simplest way is that if you are experiencing cardiovascular diseases such as high blood pressure and diabetes, we need to maintain taking medication according to the doctor's instructions. Second, we should use additional health protection foods to support the cardiovascular system, to support better blood flow to our brain, to prevent conditions such as circulatory disorders or strokes. Then one of the products that can help us deal with that situation is the Natto Infuse Forest product. The Natto Infuse product will help improve blood circulation, help blood flow better, thereby limiting the condition of cerebral circulation disorders. And an important thing in the Natto Infuse product is that it contains an active ingredient called NAT-KINGE, which will help our blood vessels circulate better, dissolve blood clots, thereby preventing diseases of cerebrovascular accidents or vestibular disorders. In addition, the Natto Infuse Forest product also contains valuable active ingredients such as zinc-cobin-3, quin, artin, and coenzyme Q10, which will help us have a more stable cardiovascular system, helping our blood vessels to be cleaner, preventing atherosclerosis, as well as increasing the durability of blood vessels, thereby reducing the risk of cardiovascular diseases, these stroke diseases. So when we use that Natto in phosphorus product, it will help us have a good circulatory system. Blood will circulate better from there. When we encounter those mistakes in the morning, it will not affect our health. What stands out to you the most? Which of these morning habits do you think you need to adjust? Or which habits do you feel you have done right? We would love to hear from you, so please leave a comment below, sharing one thing you learned today and how you plan to put it into practice in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so please feel free to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you like this video and find it useful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue to create good, useful content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.